Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Grain Gauntlet. As always, 5 questions from clients and prospects. A lot to talk about this week. We got trade deals coming and WASD report at the end of the week. This is Patrick. I'm Josh. Ready to go? Ready. All right. First question. Do we get a corn yield above 180 this year?
Wow. Let me look into my crystal ball. And let's say we have perfect weather the rest of the way. I don't know. I mean, seriously. Right now, I would guess that the USDA will raise yield in this July report from 181 up to 183. And then going forward, it'll be weather. We don't know what that is because weather guys never get it right. Here's the reality. We got a quick planting start, okay? We got rain, enough rain pretty much everywhere in the Midwest. Some places a little bit too much, but enough rain everywhere. Rain makes rain. 3, our forecast call for above normal precipitation through the rest of July, through the whole nation. USDA is going to look at those things and say, if we don't break about their trend line on 181 this year, we're never going to do it. Now, historically, we only been up about, 3 times?
Yeah, exactly. Like the last 30 years, they've only raised it like 3 times on this report.
So I am going against what is normally happens, which is they don't raise yield in July and say they will because of those conditions. Get above 180, I think we have an excellent chance that the weather stays good.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. You're seeing lots of, that's starting to be taught. People are definitely talking about yield right now. And so last year was the record, right? Just below 180.
Yeah, 179.2.
Yeah, and I'd say we're probably have at least as good of a start to the weather as we had last year, if not better, and just with trend line yield.
Yeah, and how do we finish? I mean, if you look last year at the drought monitor, October, it was the whole Midwest was covered in drought. Okay, so we closed very dry last year. We don't close very dry this year. We're going to exceed 179.2, probably 181.
Okay. All right. Next question. Can you think of any good reason to sell right now?
Yeah, a lot of good reasons to sell. It's not where you sell that's important, it's what your plan is. So if you sell right now, I had a producer way north up there by those Canadians up there, and he had a bunch of old crop left to sell. I told him to price it. I don't like the price. I wish you were priced early. His situation did lend to that, and that's how it is. But to sell now, if we do move down another 30 or 40 cents, as long as he's committed to do a buyback at harvest lows, which should come in at the end of August, like they have the last couple of years, we have an excellent chance to rally. Best chance, I believe, highest probability to rally is at harvest lows. Last year we went from 360 to 504 with demand coming in at an extremely cheap price and buying back the market. Plus, at some point, the funds will have to liquidate their 200,000 plus short contracts and we'll get above. So as long as you're committed to buy back, it makes sense to sell now if you can go down to 30 or 40 cents.
Okay. All right. Well, this ties into the next question because it says, assuming we do see a corn price with a 3 in front of it at some point, where are you calling it a buying opportunity?
We already have a 3 in front of it. Went down to 398 last year in front month futures. With bases, it's below that. So we already have a 3 in front of corn. I think we could retest the lows of last year at 360 with good weather. Again, last year we went down to 360 September futures, 385 in December futures. I don't see that kind of discrepancy between the 2 months this year. We have a record sapina crop coming to market. We have a U.S. crop that has 74% good to excellent in July with rain over pollination. Oh, by the way, coolness in the plains on 6 to 10 day, below normal heat in the plains during pollination. We have to be realistic. Yeah, we could see prices dip all the way down to 360.
Okay. Are you frustrated with the pace of trade deals, or is this going about as you expected?
I didn't have any expectations on what's going to happen with trade deals because nobody knows. I wish they would have got done sooner with a lot of buying of U.S. grain so that would help and support you. But the reality is we need years like this. Just two in a row is really hard to take. Why do we need years like this? Especially if we get new buyers this year into our grain markets. If Vietnam starts buying corn, or Indonesia or India, they're going to find U.S. corn prices very competitive. They're going to find the quality the best in the world because you guys grow great crop, and our exporters in the U.S. do a great job of keeping the quality of the corn and soybeans in place. They're going to receive a fantastic product at a cheap price. That's what you want to do with a new customer, right? You want to wow. We're going to be able to wow them in this quarter this year because of the cheap prices. That would create new demand for this year, but maybe also long-term demand, which is wonderful. We just got to get through the lows that we're going to see in the next month and a half or two.
I'm a little frustrated, I'd say, and the main reason why is the potential's there. I even see it last week when just the thought that a deal might be announced with China drove the market up. It didn't last through the weekend because of the announcement failed to materialize, but you saw what the market is obviously expecting this to be impactful at some point. It's just, it appears it's going to be much more impactful for new crop. It's two-way for old crop. It would have been nice to help out, last year's crop, but
Yeah, Josh is too caring for you guys. He don't want you to go through the pain. But if you go through the pain this year, we may have a better outcome. We said the same thing last year when we went down to stupid lows. And we rallied from 360 front month futures in corn, 960 in front month beans. By the way, when I talk about corn, I'm talking about beans too. They pretty much go together. 360 in September corn, all the way up to 504 by February front month futures. $1.44 front month futures rally up August lows. Beans went up to 960 up to 1080. Not as good as I like to see, just $1.20, but a pretty good climb up. So it's just pain now. Why are we having pain now? We have the largest subpoena crop ever coming to market. We have all the North American, North Hemisphere crop coming to market. China, the second largest corn crop in the world that they produce. Selling, but they still produce the second largest. U.S. largest, Ukraine, Russia, India, and now the largest subpoena crop ever, all coming to market between now and November 1st. We just have too much stuff in the pipeline right now, guys. And therefore, we'll probably see ridiculous lows. That is not a scary thing if you don't have to sell. If you do have to sell and you're committed to do buybacks, we're going to have an opportunity to see a rally with really good demand after. This isn't the end of the world. It's just a blip in the screen.
okay. There. And final question. This one's from a prospect. Do you think trade deals can still lift prices this year, or would continued good weather be too much to overcome?
First of all, we're going to have trade deals and we can get blips up because of the emotion. But in reality, they're not going to sign a deal with India to buy a bunch of our corn and then India buys it the next day. Okay, that's unrealistic. It will help long-term demand. On the other side of this, it's kind of a shell game, right? If India buys a bunch of our corn, where did they get corn before? Maybe they got it from Ukraine. They stopped buying Ukrainian corn, and Ukrainians price most down. So maybe China buys more from Ukraine, or a country that doesn't have to deal with the U.S. buys more from Ukraine because it's cheaper than the rest of the world. It's a world fundamental situation. It's nice to have trade deals. It's really nice to have guarantees. Like with Vietnam, we had a $2.9 billion guarantee of exports being sold, agricultural exports being sold to that country. That's nice, but that's a minimal. Yes, it will help, but its fundamentals long-term will be the key. And we need great demand here in the U.S. also.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, that's all for this week. As always, thank you, everyone, for the questions. If you'd like to have a question answered here next week, please email it to adminstaff@hedge-plus.com, and hope everyone has a great week.
cheer for lower prices right now, ridiculously low prices, so we can do a buyback with a high probability of success.
Have a great week.